All right. Very good. All right, welcome. I'm excited to have all of you here today. Super just honored to have been asked to come back and talk about interview skills some more. We did this back in April. I think it was in April.
I need to introduce you.
Okay, please do.
That right there is one of my favorite people right there. She's a heck of a school teacher.
Thank you.
Wonderful. I was going to interrogator, interrogation.
Was it an interrogation? Did you feel that way about interviewer? Yes.
So she's going to be talking to you today about honing your interview skills. And you're just going to have a great time. Every time I sit down with her and talk to her, if we spent an hour and a half on we did a 30-minute interview, took an hour and a half. So
we did.
We did. So okay, so enjoy this Dacia and this Dacia.
Yes.
I called her Darcy for a long time. It's not Darcy, it's Dacia.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, and she's just going, y'all gonna have a ball.
All right, very good.
Make sure you turn in your evaluation sheets to the front desk up as always.
All right, thank you so much. All right, very good. It's probably not a good thing for me to have a table right behind me, but I'm glad we put it there because otherwise it was here. But I will try not to spend half the time sitting.
Doesn't matter.
When I'm teaching in a classroom, I always make sure there's a desk where I can sit. And then, you know, I need to be comfortable. You need to be comfortable. I need to be comfortable. Okay, so we are talking today about interview skills. Specifically, I endeavored to take what I normally teach in the classroom and turn it into information that's going to be beneficial to us writers. And I'm drawing that from some conversations that I've had with writers and things that I've looked up online and meshing it with what I already have been teaching in the classroom for 15 years. So, yes.
I would like to point out, you guys keep your minds open because everything she has to say is good for what she's talking about, but it's also good for writing in your stories.
Absolutely.
Because what she's telling you is stuff that works for your characters. I learned that when I watched her just
We'll get into that more with the body language segment after lunch.
Yeah, but I learned I could apply.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. So just a little bit about me. I have been teaching job skills for 15 years under the actual title of Comp 2. So all the schools that I've worked at have given me the freedom to turn the classes into what I want to make them. And so I turn them into career education. And so we are writing arguments, but everything that we do has to do with how do you be the best employee? How do you get the job? How do you interview well? All of these things. And so I'm excited about that. I am a career faculty fellow at Tulsa Community College, which means I work hand in hand with the career services department to ensure that career information is getting to our faculty so faculty can share it with our students. I am this year one of the Faculty Association presidents. It is a 4-year commitment, which I'm very excited about. So I've been taking on new roles and getting more involved, gotten very busy. I am a former career services advisor, as well as former campus registrar, etc. And I'm a former business owner and I'm a writer. So I like to bring all of that experience into my classroom and then I try to make it a beneficial, practical environment. Always important that we make things practical environment for the people that I am privileged to get to speak to. So that's just a little bit about me. We're going to jump right in. So before you do go to an interview, there are a few things that you need to make sure that you are doing before you ever sit down in front of a publisher or a company owner or an HR person, whoever it is you're going to sit down in front of. The first thing you need to do is research, read about the company, know everything that you can before you go. And there are so many different aspects of things that we want to look up and know and understand about that company. Who do they work with? What type of genres are they publishing? Just all of these different aspects. The financial details, read reviews, get on Google, read reviews and whatever sites there are where you can get some good information. Familiarize yourself with their roster. And so you want to look at the books that they've published. And I heard somebody say this morning, I think it was the main speaker, she said to read the synopses of different books so you understand what genre those books are. And that's a great way. You go to the publisher's site and you navigate through those and you find out, does my work fit? So know what your career goals are. Before you sit down in front of someone who's going to be talking to you, you need to know that you know what your own career goals are. Where are you headed? What is it that you want down the road? I love to tell my students that I see myself in a cabin in the mountains with a lake view, sipping on some coffee and a laptop in my lap, and I'm writing my 5th book, right? Like that's a goal of mine. And I'm looking forward to that one of these days, but I have like 5 different major goals as well. So just it kind of depends on who I'm talking to, on which one of those I'm going to share. But you need to know what your goal is when you sit down, because if you're goal oriented, you're going to be more focused when you're answering questions. And so that's important. Prepare specific examples. So have your success stories prepared in advance. Use some note cards. Write these things down on note cards and practice them before you go. Okay, so what are some of your successes along the way with writing? Maybe you're still brand new at this, but what are some successes that you've had in your research or in networking or in maybe a short story that you've written? Don't sell yourself short. Sometimes we overlook what successes are.
Would that be like if you were like a member of an honor society? Is that?
I think that's a success. Absolutely. If you're still putting together like a resume or a portfolio, then absolutely. We start in small places, but that's not necessarily small. It depends on the context of it. But yeah, absolutely. Don't sell yourself short ever, but be able to talk about what your successes are. Know your tools and market. So be able to discuss your proficiency with relevant tools. What softwares are you adept at using? What programs have you used? What are you familiar with? Like, I can say I'm familiar with Microsoft Word. I've had to navigate it on my own to put my own manuscripts together in order to do some self-publishing on Amazon. And I am one of those, I'm going to figure it out myself kind of gals. And now I find that I'm having to teach those same skills in the classroom to my students so that they can navigate how to use Word. So it works out, you know, all good things. And then prepare your own questions. You want to be thinking of, and it's hard to come up with questions until you've done your research. So research the company so you can come up with good questions to ask before you go. So that's all prep work before we actually get started. So then the next thing is make sure you know that you know that you know where it's going to happen, because Murphy's Law is a thing, and inevitably you will get there, and there are 2. This happens at TCC West Campus. There are 2 classrooms marked 202. And so at the beginning of every semester, I will have some of Chelsea's students in my class, and Chelsea will have some of my students in her class. And so we have to make an exchange. So you want to go ahead and make sure that you know exactly where you're going. Please don't take that for granted, because Murphy's Law, like I said, it's inevitable. It will kick in and then you're late, and late is never good. So what we need to know here is that your first impression happens in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes time. And we need to be thinking about what that first impression looks like. Not just how we're dressed, but how we behave, how we speak, all of these different things, the eye contact that we're willing to make, the handshake that we give. And so we'll be taking a look at a lot of these today, but mostly in the second session, which again, will be after lunch. The most important thing you have to know before beginning an interview, and this really applies to job specific type interviews, but depending on where you're going to speak to a publisher and what their environment is, an interview often begins in the parking lot. Someone's watching. Someone's watching how you're walking in. Someone's listening to your phone conversations that you're having when you think no one's paying attention. Someone's always watching you. And so you want to conduct yourself, because here's the thing, an employer, publisher, they know that paying attention to what you do when you don't think they're watching is when they get to see who they're really working with. And so that applies to our social media as well. What are you willing to put on your social media? That's a whole conversation. We need to be aware of that as we're stepping into these processes. I work hard to not have any politics on my social media. I have friends who do, and I end up not staying connected to them because I really don't want to read those things, because I understand that TCC could feel a way or two about me depending upon what I'm willing to post on there. And so I just refrain, right? Those are for one-on-one conversations, not for the world to see. But we need to understand that. That's part of our first impression. We are always being watched because their reputation's on the line. And Peter kind of addressed that a little bit last hour. Like, he's in this as a business owner to be profitable. And so he's relying on us to bring to the table what's going to benefit his business, and he has every right to do that. Just as does any company owner have every right to be picky and choosy about who they're going to work with. And so we're being watched, and we need to keep that in mind. So say it louder for the folks in the back, but look at you all sat in the front. I love this. So your first impression matters. It takes 5 minutes. We said that twice. Let's move on. I want to tell you real quick about informational interviews. This might be a new idea to some of you. I came across this idea probably, I don't even want to guess, maybe 15 years ago, 14 years ago. It was late night at the trade school where I was teaching. Our classes went until 10:30, and the students were all gone. And so the faculty, we were sitting around talking, and in walked Clark Kent. That's not actually his name. That's Mike Hodge. And he walked in. He was one of the school attorneys. Now, what one of the school attorneys was doing there at 10 o'clock at night, I don't know, and I didn't ask. But he walked in, he sat down, he wanted to know what we were talking about. That's not frightening. And so I told him, we're talking about how do we incorporate career information into the classroom. And he said, you have to tell them about informational interviews. And so I did. And I do, and I continue to. So how does that apply to us? Well, what an informational interview for him was, as a law student, before he graduated, he walked around and went to multiple law offices in St. Louis with really strong reputations. And he went and he said, can I speak? Can I have 15, 20 minutes with one of your attorneys? Can I just ask some questions about what I need to do in order to be prepared for interviews when I graduate? And every office he went to said yes. Not only did they say yes, but he had job offers when he graduated because they were so impressed. And so with publishing, go to a place where there's publishers, a place like conferences like today. And you walk around, you go to the pitch hour and you ask questions. Maybe you're not ready to pitch yet, but you ask, how can I better be prepared? What are the types of things that I need to be doing in the meantime until I get to that space? And ask those questions. This is a wonderful time. Yes.
Well, that's what the table I was brought up. Had some people come up to me that they were not going to pitch today, but it was I knew they were trying to feel out the process and everything else. So whatever.
Yeah, myself included. I had no intention of talking to you about that today. It wasn't even on my mind. And then I was like, ooh, opportunity. I just have questions. Absolutely. So informational interviewing is a fantastic idea. So let's get back to this. I've got some items that I'm going to pop up here on the screen. So obviously, getting there on time means being early. Always show that you are ready, that you're interested, that this is actually something that you want to do. Be there before the other people are, right? And so get there early. Do not arrive at the scheduled time. Yes, I said it twice. Always wear clothes appropriate to the company or the agent you're applying for. And that, again, requires research. How does the publisher dress? How do they dress in that company? Are they very casual? Are they more formal? You want to present yourself in a way that they're going to feel like, hey, you're one of us. I love that idea. Hey, you're one of us. You don't go to a job interview for a daycare in a suit. Because they're going to say, hey, we want you to go in this room and work with some 2-year-olds for 15 minutes, right? And so we need to be prepared. That's just one way we can do that. Another one is we always be courteous to the person who's showing you the waiting area, because you don't know, that might be Peter sitting there. And he's not going to tell you that's who he is.
Can we do that?
Yeah. Because it's a great way to watch you, to see what you do while you're made to wait. Who are you? So please be aware of that. And I've got up here Julie and Veronica's story, but I'm going to go ahead and skip my story just so we can keep moving forward into that. No, I'm not going to skip it. At Tulsa Welding School, Tulsa Welding School, I went in for a job interview, and the young woman at the front desk, I introduced myself, told her why I was there, and her name was Julie. And so I struck up a conversation with Julie. Very sweet. I maintained eye contact. I sat down when she asked me to be seated. I waited for her to tell me to be seated and where. And then, so we're having a conversation. And as Julie and I are talking, I wasn't on my phone. I didn't have much with me. I left my purse in the car, keys in the pocket, right? So as we're talking, this very, very tall, dark-skinned woman with beautiful hair and a crisp suit and 4-inch high heels comes walking up, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, who is this? And she leans on the counter and she just interjects herself into our conversation. And I'm like, all right, bet, right? I'm gonna just let her join in. And so we start talking, and about 10 minutes into that conversation, way past the time that everything should have been started at this point, she says to me, by the way, I'm Veronica. Are you ready to go on back? And I went, yes. See, the interview had already started. And so you have to understand, as soon as you get there, it doesn't matter who you're talking to. I have another friend, Ashley, she's a chiropractor, and I had her come and speak to a group of medical assisting students years ago. And she told those students, and I will never forget watching the sea of faces go. She told them that your interview is half over before you ever come and sit at my desk. Because I trust my front desk staff that much. They're the ones that have to work with you. So they're watching you. Right? And so we need to be aware of that. Always pay attention. It can be anyone that you're encountering. Their opinion matters in whether this company works with you. Okay. Some interviewers will keep you waiting just to see how you act. I'll never forget the first time I was on a hiring team at Battle Rock College. And the very first time my boss, Sam, did this, I was like, what are you doing? He intentionally made this person wait. And I was like, what are we doing? It's 2 o'clock, like we should go get them. And he says to Al, the assistant director of education, he says, go down, walk through there and see what they're doing. Come back up here and tell us. I was like, what? What are you doing? Holy cow, that seemed rude to me. But then he explained, and I was, oh, okay, all right. Okay, fine. And so Al came back up and he tells us what the person's doing. And we made them wait another 15, 20 minutes before bringing them up for the interview, just to get a feel for who they were. Because when we are anxious, when we're frustrated, we're feeling like this isn't cool. That's when we show ourselves out, right? And so we want to be aware of that. Don't do that to yourself. While waiting, watch your posture and conduct yourself as if everyone going by is your potential interviewer. That is important. Now, I am not going to show this video, but this video, please write this down. This video has the potential to shake up everything for you, especially if you're on the introverted side of things. This is Amy Cuddy. She is a social psychologist. I absolutely love her research. This is her TED Talk. And in this TED Talk, she shares this idea that your intentional body language, science has proven your intentional body language can change your outcomes. It changes your brain chemistry. If you choose what she calls a power stance, it will raise your levels of testosterone and therefore you will be more confident. If you choose a different kind of stance where you hunch up, which most of us do when we're sitting and waiting on something, we hunch up. What you're doing is raising your cortisol levels. And when you raise your cortisol levels, you have a lack of confidence. And so you walk into an interview with a, well, I hope they like me kind of attitude. And so this is very powerful information. They specifically gear it toward job interviews, which is fantastic. So I highly recommend. It's about an 18-minute video. Everyone should watch it. I show it to all of my students and make them participate in this, but it's wonderful. So I'm going to go ahead and skip on. Here it is. So a power pose is anything that causes you to open up. So you go stand for 2 minutes. 2 minutes is all it takes to change your brain chemistry. Is that wild? That's wild. 2 minutes. That's it. They did the research. They know this study works. So if you do a power stance, go in the bathroom, stand like this for a while, like whatever, a power stance. You can sit in a power stance as well. Like you can sit legs wide, sit like this, whatever you can do that's opening yourself up, because what you're doing is you're telling your brain to produce testosterone. And so that's what it does. If you're curling up, punching forward, you are effectively producing cortisol. And you will feel a lack of confidence, and therefore you will not do well or do as well as you could in an interview setting. And there's some more. She put these into her PowerPoint when she does the talk and the TED Talk. Those are the pictures from the actual PowerPoint. So the top ones are high poses, and the bottom ones are the low power poses. And so very interesting. Try to avoid the low power poses at all cost. Right. So, all right, moving on. And here's another quote from Amy Cuddy. She says in that video, she says, "Our bodies change our minds, and our minds can change our behavior, and our behavior can change our outcomes." And I absolutely love her. Like, I'm not into celebrities. I don't really care about celebrities. I don't do celebrity worship, but there's a couple of people, Amy Cuddy being one, that if she walked in this room, I probably wouldn't be able to speak. I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, you're so cool. Like, I love you," you know, because she's changed so much for me. I used to come up as an INFJ on personality tests. And in the last 15 years, I've come to a space where now I come up ENFJ on a regular basis. And a lot has to do with my understanding of these things. So moving forward, your first impression matters some more. While you are waiting to be interviewed, don't eat or drink anything. If you are like me, you will spill. This morning I spilled. It fortunately isn't showing, but I sure did spill my little power drink right down the front of my shirt. And I was like, it's typical. Of course I did. And here I'm going to come and tell you not to do that exact same thing. Now, when my children were small, I could just blame it on them, right? Like the mustard, that was the kids. It was the kids. It wasn't me. I'm so sorry. But they're all grown now. My baby's going to be 18 in January, so I can't do that anymore. Right. Maybe he's still messy. I think he's still messy.
I think you can still blame it. I blame it on my parents all the time.
The oldest one's 30, so I could definitely blame, well, we'll go with the 30-year-old did it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm. I can't believe I have a kid who's gonna be 30 this year. That's,
Wait till they get into the forties.
oh God.
That's crazy.
This is just killing me enough right now. Like wow.
My oldest will be 50 in 3 years. I can't even imagine.
My granddaughter's 8. And I'm thinking, how did that happen? So I don't know that.
My babies are 4 and 7, and I'm not prepared for anything older than that.
It happens like that.
I know, I'm not ready.
No, you're not. So don't talk on your cell phone while you're waiting to be interviewed. If you can, put it away, have it on silent. Don't even have it out, because Peter might be an Android user and you have an iPhone. And he goes, Please don't make mistakes. That sometimes those kind of things can happen. They absolutely can. You walk in as an iPhone user into a den of Android users, they're probably not going to welcome you. So leave your cell phone out of sight, on silent. Don't even let it tempt you. You are always being watched. And there's my chiropractor friend. Oh, look at you with the flip phone. That's good. That's not going to tempt you at all. Make sure that you're using firm handshakes and look a person in the eye. A firm handshake is very important. When I first met my former brother-in-law, it was one of those wet fish, clammy.
Oh.
That's why he's the former.
Well, no, that's another longer story, but it very much said to me, don't trust him. And I was not wrong. So handshake matters. My dad taught me that when I was a very young girl, and we need to make sure we're doing that for job interviews, because that's a key. Don't ever look impatient or bored. And maybe you don't know if you look impatient or bored. You need to have some people in your life that will be honest with you before you go into a high pressure situation and have them tell you, do I look bored? Well, yeah, you look bored a lot. I do. You know, like I go to speaking engagements, and it just baffles my mind when the speaker has everyone in the room asleep. And I'm like, does the speaker not know this? Somebody needs to tell the speaker how to behave in front of a class. Like, I figured out a long time ago that my title is not professor, it is edutainer. But like, I have to get up here and I have to move. I have to make faces. I have to do all kinds of things to keep people looking. It's very important. So don't ever look bored. And if you need to, ask people, do I look bored? Like, how do I come across? Right? So make sure that you're paying attention to that. Remain standing until you're requested to be seated. That's a sign of respect, and you want to show respect to the publisher that you're encountering. Absolutely do, or to the agent. Take as little with you as possible. A folder, and in that folder have some items that you could show if called upon. Have some references available. A copy of your query letter, perhaps for one of your works, synopsis of your book or your multiple books or whatever it is. But don't take more than that with you, ladies. Don't take your purses. Like, we got to keep those put away because you could get judged on not having a Louis Vuitton. I'm just saying. Depends on the area that you're going into and who you're talking to. I've got my little backpack up there and people are gonna be like, we're a backpack. What is that? Right? Well, it works for me, but I'm not gonna have that be seen in an interview setting. When you greet the interviewer, always try to initiate the handshake. And if you can find out their name ahead of time, use their name. So it's nice to meet you, Peter. Right? That's the way you want to, in this kind of a situation, you want to engage. Avoid tapping your feet or shifting in your seat. That's all. Please, yes, it is. And it's a practice thing. You can practice that. Put yourself into a high stress situation and pay attention to your body. What is your body doing? So we want to avoid tapping and shifting. Don't stink. This is one, this usually gets people because they're like, what do you mean don't stink? You might really like your cologne, but other people are gagging. So maybe just a little bit, maybe just a little spray before you go into a situation where you're going to be interviewed. Don't smell, don't smoke before you go. Yes, ma'am.
I suggest no cologne, no perfume, because people are allergic.
People are allergic.
Especially after COVID, because we were without it for so long.
Yeah, we have sensitivities. And also, just if you're ever going to be talking to me and you are a fan of Estee Lauder Youth Dew, no, thank you. Bless my grandma's heart in heaven. That was her favorite perfume. She wore it for years, but I smell it now occasionally in a department store and I'll be like, oh, sorry if that's what you wear, but I love my grandma, but she'd go in for those big bosom hugs and you're just like bathing in Youth Dew. And then I'm like washing it off and it's terrible. But don't go in stinky. Don't eat fish and garlic and onions before you go sit down to talk to someone. Like, please don't be stinky. And then listen carefully for the interviewer's full name and use it. Again, if you can find that out before you sit down with them, that's what you want to do. And greet them by name. People like it when we call them by name. Absolutely. And so a lot of times with students, I will ask them before I call roll, how do you pronounce your name?
What was the last one you said?
That was listen carefully for their name and use it. And I have business cards here too. If anybody would like one of these, you can email me and ask for the slides and I'll be happy to send them to you. I've already sent them to Charla. So, but you're more than welcome to reach out for these. So we all hate this one. When you sit down and this is the very first thing, tell me about yourself. Your skin crawls, right? You're like, oh, please don't. Just get ready. That's going to happen. It's going to happen. So practice it. Have it ready to go. This needs to be about 30 seconds to 2 minutes of your time. Unless you're in one of those situations like where I know at the Oklahoma Writers Conference back in the spring, we had this interview talk right before a bunch of people went to do pitches, but you had 5 minutes. I was told it was a 5-minute pitch. I was like, what? Holy cow, I can't do anything in 5 minutes, especially not this type stuff related. Okay, so 5 minutes. So maybe your tell me about myself should be like 30 seconds in that kind of an environment, but you need to quickly be able to give a little rundown of yourself. I have one already pre-made depending on what type of environment I'm going to be in. This one's more education focused, of course. I'm not going to take the time to read it out loud here, but I like to end it with, I consider myself a pantser plotter, not only in writing, but in life, because that leads them into asking what that means. Right? You want to say things that make them curious. What does that mean? Because that throws them off their game. And now they're asking questions that aren't on their question list. And that's good because that means they're going to remember you. that's something we want to think about. Yes.
I am writing anyway because I remember it better than writing. So, I'm probably gonna answer them as such.
Oh, very good. Yeah, I am recording this too.
So what is a pantser plotter?
A pantser plotter. A pantser is someone who writes by the seat of their pants. A plotter is an outliner.
Okay.
We call it
Somewhere in the middle.
planters.
Somewhere in the middle, okay.
Planters.
A
They're
plantser.
Planters.
Panther is what though?
Right by the seat of your pants.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I like to create my characters and then come up with a situation and throw them in. And then I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know how it's gonna end. It's a surprise to me. I enjoy that. I was interviewing a lady yesterday for the TCC Writers Series that I'm doing. I interviewed Kim Toscano, who's a gardening freelance writer. And I was talking with her and she is an outliner to the extreme. Like she was even showing me her process with note cards. Like she writes her entire book on note cards, like this scene and that scene, and she can move them around before she sits down to actually start putting the whole thing together. And I went, I kind of like that. I do that with a research project. If you give me a research paper, that's the way I do it. Fiction?
That's,
I don't know. Maybe I'm not so much a pantser plotter like I thought, because that got me real excited. But we'll see. We'll see. All right, so some more here. Always be alert and act interested. That's a little repetitive. Use words to answer questions, never nods or head shakes. Okay? Use words and not just yes or no. Never give a yes or no response unless it's definitively a yes or no question. But a lot of times interviewers will ask yes or no questions as a test. Are you a critical thinker? If you're not a critical thinker, you're going to be satisfied with yes and no responses. You want to go yes because and no because and give full responses. Always don't settle for those one word responses because that might be something they're doing to test you. Not saying they are, I'm just saying it's possible. So please be aware of that because for the position that I have at TCC as an assistant professor of English, when they hired me, there were 75 candidates. You have to stand out and be prepared for anything. Okay, so these things, some of them might sound silly, but they're not. They're absolutely not. So make sure that you're not doing yes or no responses. Make all your comments in a positive manner. Of course, don't talk about a previous publisher with bad intent, right? Say good things, say what you learned. Everything's a learning process. You can have the worst boss in the world, but you learned something. You know now what you don't want to do in the future, right? And so that's what we look at the positives, and those are the things we talk about. To speak clearly, firmly, and confidently is important. Remember the pace of your words. Don't talk too fast, but don't talk too slow either. You want to talk at a pace where they are able to hear you and understand you. And this is sometimes a problem for me when I get real excited. You know, I start talking real fast. And then I'll look at the room. You're constantly reading the room. So reading the room in an interview is you're reading the interviewer. If a look of confusion crosses the face, slow down, right? Sometimes we just need to pay attention to how fast we're talking. Can they understand you? Be able to champion your strengths. That's not egotistical. To be able to talk about what you do well. What do you write well? Be able to tell them that. Because they want to know what are your strengths in your writing process. So be able to talk about that. It's egotistical when you say, I'm the best. Now that we don't do, but your strengths are important. And the same token, what are your weaknesses? What is it that you struggle in? Where's that area where you get real distracted, right? Where you need a little help, a little push, a little tug. Be willing and able to talk about that. Please never say, oh, I don't have any. That's your weakness. That is your weakness, to be cocky. So also be prepared to discuss how you track deadlines and prioritize multiple projects. They want to know what your writing process is like and how organized you are. So if you're not organized yet, work on some kind of an organization process so that you can present that. In my novel writing class right now, we're going to be ending the semester with a publisher's chart that I learned when I was in my master's program, and they're not going to like it. And I don't care because it's essential to this process. These students all come into this class and they all think, I'm gonna write a book. Well, okay, but there's a lot that goes into this, a lot that you're not taking into account. And so I'm just giving them like a tip of the iceberg because 16 weeks is not long enough to do that. And so we end it with, here's this publisher's chart. Let's talk about the writer's market. Let's talk about how we use the writer's market. What are we looking for, right? And well, it's fun for me. I don't know if it's fun for them. I enjoy that, but we do want to be organized and show that we are. Showcase your ability to incorporate feedback and criticism from editors in a constructive manner. How do you handle feedback? Be able to talk about some of the feedback that you've received. One of the best bits of feedback I ever received was a 1-star Amazon review. And it said in all caps, I don't recommend this book to anyone. And I went, but me being me, I was like, cool, I want to talk to you. And so I did a little bit of stalking and I figured out who this person was and I emailed her. I sure did email Nancy. Figured out her name even. And I said, hey, it's the author. Can I talk to you? Please, I have some questions. And she graciously responded, yes. I think she might have been a little afraid, but we ended up becoming friends and we're connected on LinkedIn now. But what was amazing was I discovered, what is that? Oh, that's the 10-minute. I have an alarm set on my phone. Thank you. What I discovered was that she actually loved the premise of the story, but she hated the last chapter. She said to me, she said, that character didn't deserve everything wrapped up in a bow. It made her so angry that I had nice and neat tied it up that she wrote that review. And I went, wow, that's amazing. So I thought about it and I sat with it and I took the book down and changed the whole thing. It's much longer now. It's much, much longer now. There was so much more to that story that I hadn't unpacked yet. I hadn't dug in.
Did you go back to Nancy?
Yes, and Nancy actually looked over one of my other manuscripts for me too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You got her emotionally involved.
Yeah, she was mad. She was
Good.
mad.
Good.
It was hilarious, but it wasn't hilarious for Amazon reviews, but it was fun. It was fine. We have got 10 minutes left, so there's not, I'm not even halfway through. I knew that was gonna happen. I knew it was gonna happen. But so let me just throw these up here. Again, these are some things you wanna be able to talk about. Articulate your process, be able to explain how it is that you write and what you do. Show your adaptability, that you're going to be open to edits and changes, that you are adaptable. You understand that this is just words on paper and the ultimate goal is for it to sell. It's nothing personal. This is business. And so we have to be flexible and adaptable. Prove your research ability. Show that you know how to do research. Provide examples of your best work. Having that portfolio put together is a great idea. And explain how you manage writer's block. And this is one of my favorite conversations. We talk about writer's block at school. Like I need to do a whole workshop here on writer's block. My friend Doug Price has a new project where he has been awarded a grant. He's a psychology professor, but he's been awarded a grant to dig deeper into continuous writing. And how do we do that? And how do we share that science with students? And he comes to my classes and talks about it. And maybe I'll talk to Merle and see if we can do that another time, because how to continuously write is a beautiful, beautiful system. But I'm not going to get into it right now. Okay, so we're going to throw this up here. Never be aggressive or egotistical. That's so unattractive. It's absolutely unattractive. So let's don't do that. And don't make demands. Use my book or else, right? Like, no, we don't do that because that's going to get us, out the door or jail. Don't discuss money. If Peter's interested in you, he's going to bring up this information. Let him share that with you first. That's not something you come and you say, okay, now tell me about this. I saw it happen one time in a job interview. I loved this woman. She had been in the Peace Corps. I thought she was so cool. I'm like, can I have her? Can she teach with me, please? And my boss said, no, she asked about money. And I went, but I want her to be my friend. And apparently you're not supposed to get emotionally involved when you're interviewing people. But I did. I really liked her. But we did not hire her because she had the audacity to ask how much she would get paid. in the interview. So that's important. Money is up to the person interviewing you. So please be aware of that. Never act defensively when questioned about anything. Calm, cool, collected, logic, always. Never answer questions with only yes or no. We said that. Do show interest in the company. Make sure that they know you've done some research, that they can tell by the questions that you ask and the things that you talk about that you've done research. Showcase your passion for the craft. Show that you're actually passionate about writing. Have you ever talked to somebody who's like boring about their writing? Like you seriously are like, wow, I really don't know that I ever want to read anything you wrote. No, thank you. But somebody who's gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is the best. Look at this idea I just had. Like, I'm so excited about it. And then you wanna share it. Okay, show passion. That's our 3-minute mark. Little good song there for a 3-minute mark. And then keep the goal in mind to convey how your writing will assist the company in achieving their success. This isn't just about you. It's about them as well. It's mutual success. And so we want to be able to get that across. We always want to be prepared, ask questions. Okay, we're at a point where I'm just going to fly through this. There are great interview questions online. The ones that are here are from, get a picture of this one. This is what you want the picture of. It's mountfordwriting.com, 28 questions to ask authors in interviews. So these are the types of questions that you might be asked, okay? So I'm just gonna flip through them. We're not gonna take a look at them, but you can look those up for yourself and find questions that a publisher might ask you and practice those. Also on the converse, find questions. Oh no, that's still for the author. You also want to be prepared to ask them questions. And you want to go with at least 20 questions prepared in advance because chances are in your conversation, you're going to have already addressed half the things on your list. And so you don't want to get to the end and they say, do you have any questions for us? And you say no, because that's your ticket out the door. So you want to say yes, and they are. And then boom, 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 you've got one of the best questions you can ask though, is there anything else you want to know about me? If they, it's like a barometer.
Is that
If they, no, it's not, it's on the next slide. Oh, no, it's not, I moved it. I'm sorry. I moved everything around. I've done this PowerPoint like 5 times in the last 2 days. But it's a barometer. If they say yes, that's great. If they say no, you can kind of go, oh. But don't take a full oh out of it. It might just be that they've got somebody right after you. It could be that too. So. Okay, there's clapping.
Yeah.
So questions you can ask, again, these are things that you can look up online and you can ask me for the PowerPoint and I will send this to you. Be happy to do that because there's all these questions here that are great. To end the interview, there it is. Is there anything else you'd like to know about me? I knew I just moved it. And then you also want to offer your references and thank the interviewer for their contributions. Hi, Carolyn. I think we're just about, look at this. Follow up, send a handwritten thank you note, show you're different from everyone else, do something a little unexpected, and send a little thank you for your conversation. I enjoyed meeting you, use their name, right? And then we're toward the end here, that's my husband. One of the things he always says is, don't get mad at me down the road if I make more use of this information than you do. I end every semester that way with my students, and some of them are like, I'm like, no, I'm not kidding. I'm going to keep growing and keep being successful. I don't know what you're doing. Isn't that great? That's so great. So anyway, don't be like that chick, but I'm not going to play the video for you. You'll have to get the PowerPoint to watch that. But we don't want to be like her. And we're at the end. We made it.
This was so fun. Everybody, lunch is served.
Fantastic.
Over in the next room, sit wherever you want. Okay, it's box lunch.
Thank you, Carolyn. Thanks. And again, if anybody wants my email address, here are my cards. Thank you. Let's see. And
I was